Hey, so I have a small problem. It made it into a huge problem. And if you're a returning viewer, this is probably normal at this point. But if you're new, this is what happens when my brakes don't work right. So I haven't had back brakes for a while and I don't know why. And I think it has to do something with my master cylinder, which is now there. I also haven't had power brakes for a while too, and I don't know what happened with that. Well, I had a problem with the brake booster, which I took apart and greased up, and it was working again for a while, but now it's not working. So instead of getting OEM replacements from Japan, because they are available, albeit expensive, I decided to upgrade the brakes because I also plan to add power to this van eventually. So I stripped everything out because, you know, that's what you do. And I went ahead and I bought a master cylinder and a brake booster from a Geo or Chevy Tracker. I think it's probably the same parts as a Samurai, but I'm not sure. These are from a 90 Tracker. They don't fit. Don't get it wrong. They definitely don't fit. I'm going to make them fit by cutting out my pedal box and hopefully clearing my steering column to shove this in there. Because this is like a 8 7/8 diameter, and that diameter overall is about 7 7/8, maybe 8. But yeah, we're gonna make it fit and eventually upgrade the rest of the brakes. Hopefully I don't mess up my pedal field by doing this, because this is also a 13/16 bore master cylinder, and that was a 3/4. But they really don't make anything in 3/4 for a dual outlet remote reservoir, blah blah blah. So we're gonna make this work. Yes, I have my grinder, I have my welder. Let's get some shit done. Sick. Figure out some spacers because I don't think I have enough washers here. I'm gonna go find some more washers. Check it out. My previous owner of this building that we bought left a bunch of stuff, including like wheel spacers for lawnmowers. If it's nice, there's still plenty of thread engagement. I'll throw 1 or 2 of these on for now. We can figure out the linkage now. Pretty much have to go all the way down to the bottom of the threads. Simple enough. And if you had noticed, my brake booster is technically upside down because the vacuum port's at the bottom. It really doesn't matter because it's vacuum. It's omnidirectional. I did that because the old brake line and the old booster comes out at a 90 on the top, and the line's not long enough to reach all the way up here, but it can reach over here if we just bring it to the side a little bit. So yeah, I think I'm gonna go make my own instead of welding to this, just in case I need to revert back, but I use this as a guide. I'm gonna take this with me, and I need it to be 1/4 inch shorter than this. BRB. Alright, I made my new linkage holder thing. Pin fits nice. Put this thing back together. Test fit. Nice, nice. The captive nut is hitting, but it's not even used, so we're gonna get rid of it. Other than that, this is touching a little bit over here. And then I need to reinforce this because I cut out so much of it. I didn't lose any of the mounting points though. This is where the steering column mounts, and this is where this mounts to the stamped steel in the car. So I want to measure and make sure they didn't stretch out, and then I'm gonna reinforce from here to here and here to here. All right, we're reinforced. We got 1/8 inch by like 3/4 bar on both sides, and the booster still slides in and sits in nice without any contact, so we don't get any vibrations. So I'm gonna let it cool down for a little bit. I'm gonna hit it with some spray paint, but then we can assemble it. What else do I need to figure out? Hook that to that, put that back on there. Oh, well, we gotta see if the master cylinder even fits in the car, but I have to reinstall this because this should be all set now. Once this goes in, the booster's on it, I don't have to take this back out, unless it doesn't fit, obviously, but that's not gonna happen. All right, while the paint's drying on that, we're gonna work on the master cylinder. The original one is a remote reservoir, just right here, because obviously it sticks up and your gauges are, well, right above it actually. So we can't have the reservoir that came with the master cylinder for the tracker was mounted on top. This one had nice little brackets that held down those pieces for the return to the reservoir. It's really just there for alignment, and there's some O-rings on it to keep it sealed, but they're not under any pressure on the top. It's just a return, right? So don't crucify me. Those are 90-degree PEX fittings. They're brass, so I don't have to worry about them reacting with anything. They're in there really snug, so I don't think they're gonna leak at all. So I'm gonna make a plate that's gonna direct them in the same direction as these, and at the same time keep them clamped down. There's like a little shoulder on the side of the it actually fits a 12mm wrench perfectly, so that's gonna hold it down. And there was a roll pin that held the reservoir down originally. I'm gonna reuse that, the roll pin. So I'm gonna make a plate that's gonna hold these down through there. Should be fine. It's gonna be fine. All right, there's my beautiful bracket. Roll pin holding it in place, holding these down, and holding them from spinning. They're not going anywhere. So that's dry. Start putting some stuff together. That bolt sucks trying to get to if it's still in the car. So I highly recommend doing this outside of the car if you're doing anything with your booster. It's doable though. I mean, I've done it before, but it sucks. I fucked up. I gotta go cut my bracket. It hits the thing. I don't know what I was thinking. I didn't even see this surface. That's alright. I got a grinder. Oh look, it's right here. Well, it's not as pretty anymore, but it's still gonna work. Why is it so tight? I know it's got an O-ring on it, but dang. Holy cow, that O-ring is tight. Throw some grease on it. Let's try that again. I dry fitted this before. I know it works. Here we go. A little lube. Anywho, okay, I don't know where I left off. I don't know. So here's an update. I had to cut this bracket that holds the steering column. I had to cut the bracket on the steering column. I moved the bolt that connects it so that I can bolt it back in when I have to instead of welding it all together, so it's still modular. But the brake booster from the Geo Tracker is in. The brake master cylinder from the Geo Tracker is in. The brakes are bled and they work. We tested it kind of sketchily without a dash, but it works. So we are good to go. So if you ever need to change your brakes and you want to do it the absolute hardest way possible without just buying the parts from Japan, get a welder, a grinder, Geo Tracker parts, and a lot of time, and you can do this.
Not actually that much time.
No, I mean, well, we did this over like 3 days, really. And yesterday we were just fucking around with other stuff.
Mostly, yeah.
So,
it took you, what, yesterday about 2 hours to do
I could have done it in like 24 hours if I didn't want to spend so much time
about 2 days
making all the parts. Because like I had to make a plug because I didn't want to wait for it to get here. It should be here at my house like right now. But I didn't want to wait, so I had to make a bunch of shit. So
overall, about, like I said, 2 days of effort.
yeah, all right, 2 days of effort. I mean, the parts were cheaper because they're domestic. Not that much cheaper, but you save a lot on shipping. So, I mean, weigh your whatever pros and cons. But now I have parts that are slightly oversized, so that when when I decide to change my brakes out, it somewhat matches better than the smaller cylinder, and I could potentially get replacement parts a little bit easier. The end.